So what is the greatest answer for all humanity, and it solves every problem? I'm going to give you the answer right now, and I'm also going to support it with facts, truth, and scientific evidence that supports everything I'm saying here. So stay with me. First, the answer is unconditional love. And before you click away, let me prove to you why it hasn't worked for any of us. And I'm going to give an example of why it doesn't work for anyone right now, but it can with the answer, the complete answer that I'm giving. So the other part of the answer of why it's not working is because of false beliefs. And let me give you a specific example of a false belief that we all use all the time. And this is just one of countless of why unconditional love doesn't work. And then I will give you also the example of how to actually make it work. So we all have had moments where we had a goal, we were trying to accomplish it. It could be on any topic or subject, and we didn't perform as well as we wanted. We didn't accomplish the goal. Things didn't go as we intended or had hoped. And what have we all done? What are we all responsible for? We all have criticized ourselves in those moments at one point or another. And realistically, we've all done that many times to ourselves. We judged ourselves. Maybe we got angry at ourselves. We certainly criticized ourselves for not doing as well as we had wanted or intended to do. And that is a false belief. And the core of it starts with we believe our happiness is dependent on outside circumstances and outcomes outside of our self, of our inner self, of our consciousness in there. And let me explain further. So, because we believe our happiness, which also is joy, peace, bliss, fulfillment, meaning, all of that is dependent on outcomes and acquiring things, or the perfect spouse, a specific money amount that we want to earn. It could be anything that we attach what our happiness is dependent upon in there. And then when that doesn't happen the way we want in a particular moment, whatever it happens to be, we end up going into other false beliefs because we don't believe that we can create that joy and that inner peace all the time within us, regardless of outside experiences or outcomes. And that is an absolute truth. And if you tried to practice it right now, it wouldn't work because of, for example, I just gave that one false belief that we all have. But we all have many, 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 which I don't have time to go into today on this video. But I can assure you we all do. And that's the reason, and the only reason it doesn't work is because of false beliefs. And I'm going to get into the scientific data that confirms everything I'm saying in a second, but stick with me. Let me further explain false beliefs. Every false belief is some type of belief based in fear or doubt that we hold towards some aspect of ourselves. And because we have that false belief, we are actually limiting and blocking access to the unconditional love on whatever that topic is of the false belief, whatever it represents. And in this case, the false belief is my well-being, my joy, my happiness is dependent on any outside circumstance, outside of my connection inside myself, my consciousness with the love within me. And by having that false belief, and obviously it leads to also developing many other false beliefs. And so the answer is very simple. All we have to do is identify and understand how to identify the false beliefs, and then to clear it, what we are able to do once we begin identifying false beliefs, we are able to connect further into our unconditional love, connect to an absolute truth, which always comes from unconditional love, and we define the specific false belief, the complete, specific, detailed false belief. That allows us to identify the specific and detailed absolute truth from unconditional love, which will erase that false belief. And it is instantaneous. Now, you do have to practice it, but only for 10 minutes a day, because you are retraining your consciousness and your subconsciousness, because many of these false beliefs reside in the subconsciousness. And often they have developed in our childhood. And because they developed in our childhood, often they were uncomfortable feelings and things we didn't want to experience. So we began to suppress them and push them down. And by the time we became an adult, we weren't even aware, and we are no longer aware that we even have these false beliefs. And I can tell you that certainly was true in my life. And I can tell you it is true in your life as well. And it's very easy. The hard part was for me figuring out how to remove these false beliefs and also how to identify certain false beliefs, because the ones in my subconsciousness that I had developed as a childhood, I no longer as an adult even realized I had. And I truly was even in denial that I could even have them or that I did. And so the processes that I developed are very easy, and they work quickly and easy to identify all false beliefs that you and I and everyone has. And it's simply going through this process. It's very quick, and you identify each false belief in its complete detail, and we must be identify the complete absolute truth for each false belief. It's like a key in a door. If you only have part of the false belief, if you've only identified part of it, or one and you have two on the same topic, it would be like having the key only halfway made and you put it into the lock. The lock is the false belief. To open the lock and then open the door, which is the doorway to access your unconditional love, you have to have the complete answer of the absolute truth that is going to erase the false belief, because false beliefs ultimately are illusions. And I promise you, this is absolutely true. It's the only reason we haven't been able to access our unconditional love. Once you do this process, you literally remain in your unconditional love. You literally, truly stay and remain in inner peace and joy and happiness, regardless. Even if somebody shows up and they're negative, they're saying something terribly negative or sarcastic or whatever it might be, you truly remain in your joy and your happiness, your bliss, and you are able to navigate with compassion and kindness. And you're not dependent on, for example, another false belief that people need to treat me with kindness or at least be civil to me. I know I had this, and most people have this false belief, an expectation that people must act in a certain way. And when they don't, we often choose to be upset, whether it's angry or sad or hurt or any other type of negative emotion, which all comes from false belief as well. And so once you're free of that, you truly are easily staying and effortlessly staying in your inner peace and your joy all the time. It is that simple. Now, let me just quickly jump into the scientific evidence that proves everything I'm saying. So there is an institute, it's called the Heart Math Institute. They've collaborated with Stanford University, the United States Department of Defense, and many other institutions on specifically the studying of the heart-mind connection. And I'm going to list two studies. One is McCarty et al. 2003, and the other is McCarty et al. 2009. And in these studies, they were studying the heart-mind connection, so your conscious connection with your loving self. And they were studying specifically the physiological changes that people experience, and also the conscious improvements that they had. So people that were suffering from depression, anxiety, stress, and any number of possible issues. And so in these studies, people began to experience bliss and joy for the first time. People began experiencing inner peace on a regular basis. People that had suffered from stress and anxiety no longer were experiencing that. People that had depression moved up the scale into a more joyful place. And so the study did not have a 100% success rate. And that actually confirms everything I'm saying, because in all of these, I've proven in the beginning of this video that we are all conditional with our love. And that is because of all the false beliefs that we all have come to learn. We are taught them, we come to believe new ones on our own. And it's a simple understanding of what unconditional love is, and that our false beliefs are blocking us from accessing it depending on what the specific false belief is. It's that simple and that true. And because we are all conditional, in every study that they've performed, even though they were having great success, it wasn't 100%. But if utilizing my processes, it is 100%. I can assure you of that, because it allows the full connection with your unconditional love, removing all the false beliefs. And then you simply are living in that unconditional love all the time. And so these studies, they left it up to the subjects, the people they were studying, to utilize their own understanding and version of love. And I can tell you, for everybody in humanity, it is conditional. We are conditional with our love, even towards ourselves, which I gave the example of, that we are conditional even with our love towards ourselves, but with everything else as well. And even with the conditional love that the subjects used, they had tremendous improvements. And if my processes are utilized as far as identifying false beliefs easily, moving into your complete unconditional love, truly within a week, the people are living in unconditional love nearly all the time. And within a few more weeks, we're also continue identifying any remaining false beliefs that generally are on the subconsciousness, but most have been removed in the first 6 days. And that goes for the conscious and subconsciousness. But it generally takes a few more weeks to clear everything out. And by 30 days, people are truly living in the full unconditional love all the time. It is a certainty, and I promise you, it is this simple. It just seemed complicated because of our false beliefs. It seemed impossible because that's what we came to believe and have come to believe. And so I created 2 programs for you, if you are interested, if this is in your heart and something you have been searching for, then this is the program for you. This is what I was searching for since 1994, when I was 21 years old in Costa Rica, attending the University of Costa Rica, and I realized unconditional love was the answer. I thought, geez, I know this is the answer. And I thought within 6 months or a year, I would figure out how to begin living it all the time. I was so convinced of that. But I didn't realize, because of my false beliefs, that it was so challenging to figure out and see the answer. It is profound, and it is so simple at the same time, and it works all the time, because the answer comes from unconditional love. And any answer that comes from unconditional love is an absolute truth. And that means it works all the time in every situation, no exceptions. And I promise that is what this is. So there are 2 courses, and it took me up until literally this year, the beginning of this year, to finally put the final piece on all of this and to identify everything in a way of perfection. And so the first course is an 8-week course. And during the first 6 days, I am on live Zoom calls with you and a small group of people. And we are going over, and it's 3 hours every day, live Zoom call with me. And we are going through all of your false beliefs. We are identifying them, and then we are connecting and identifying the absolute, specific, detailed truth and removing those false beliefs. And then you are practicing it. And it truly is only 10, 15 minutes a day of actually practicing. You're just retraining your conscious and subconsciousness. And it is that simple. And we are also delving into unconditional love during that first 6 days. And after those first 6 days, you truly are in the place of unconditional love nearly all the time. And then we continue for the remaining 7 weeks. I'm having Zoom calls live with you for 3 to 4 hours each week. And we are continuing to remove false beliefs and going further and further into unconditional love. It is that amazing. And by the 30th day, you truly are living in unconditional love all the time. It is truly this amazing, and it is this easy. The doctorate degree program, it is the most advanced program. It is 1 year, and I am live with you. And it is a very, very small group, and that is so that everybody can ask every question and have everything addressed specifically for them during these live meetings and also the Zoom calls. And so I will be meeting with you live each month of the 12 months. The first month, I am meeting with you in person for the first 6 days, and that is each day, the full day, the entire day of those first 6 days, and in this small group. And then the remaining 11 months, I'm meeting with you in person for 5 days of each of those remaining 11 months. And all the other weeks, there are live Zoom calls where, just like the other program, where we are going through topic by topic over the 12 months. And on this much more, the most advanced program, this 12-month, we are going into other topics as far as intuition, becoming a knowing. And I can tell you, knowing is true. I mean, we all understand and believe that understand intuition works, but it is far more advanced in your development and ability to use within your unconditional love. And so that you begin knowing and having the ability to know everything you need to know about an individual that you just meet, everything that is important, whether it's for a business relationship, a friendship, dating, or any other possibility. You will know if this is the right person to move forward with. And it is from a place of absolute unconditional love. Even know if they have specific extreme false beliefs that would make your partnership or friendship not good at that time. And so it allows you, not just with relationships and all people, knowing what you need to know, you will know every decision from an optimal place. You will see the optimal answer in all decision making that you need to make, from small decisions to the largest decisions. You will be connecting to the optimal answer, and it absolutely is a superpower. So please check that video out below. And so if you have a deep desire to want to live in joy and bliss, to be living your passions, to be in complete inner peace in every moment, to have fulfillment and meaning and purpose in your life in every moment. If this is a deep desire for you, I have created 2 amazing courses. I believe they are the most amazing courses on this planet. One is an 8-week course, and it is completely immersive, and it is going to get you living in this joy and bliss and inner peace and fulfillment, meaning in every moment. Literally, you will be living that most of the time after the first 6 days. You'll begin connecting to optimal answers in every situation in your life, and it is that amazing. And so it's 3 hours a day, each day for 6 days of the first week, and then each of the following 7 weeks, we're going in and spending about 3 to 4 hours a week on live Zoom calls. And we're going through much deeper unconditional love, and also clearing out for a week or 2 more the false beliefs. And then we're going into things like intuition, becoming a knowing, and check out that video. The other course is a year-long, 12 months, and it's even more immersive. This is for someone who has the financial means and the time to go as deep as they possibly can, and they have the desire to want to live in the fullness, to the depths that they possibly can, as quick as they can. And so the first 6 days are actually live in person with me in a small group, and we are removing all of your false beliefs and going deeper into your unconditional love. And then each of the remaining 11 months, I am spending 5 days with you in person each of those remaining 11 months. And then all of the other weeks where we're not together in person, I am providing live Zoom calls with you and the small group. Each week is a new topic, and we're going deeper into the unconditional love. You're going much further and much deeper into the knowing, where intuition truly becomes a knowing. But even with the 8-week program, you will be making optimal answers, but there is no limit, upper limit on this knowing, and it really can help you in many, many different ways, seeing the future even, and understanding what is the optimal answer for topics, understanding topics that maybe because of a false belief you felt you couldn't understand, calculus or high level physics or anything else. And by removing those false beliefs, you're knowing you will truly be able to understand and grasp concepts and understand everything that you focus on, that you desire and have a passion to want to learn. And you will even be able to take that even further by even developing new understandings that are not even yet on this planet. It is truly that. So if you're interested in signing up for one of those 2 courses, I put my email address, email, and then I can send you the information. We can set up a Zoom call, discuss either of those courses further. So please check out the description section of this video and any other video in my YouTube channel. It will have my email address in the description section. You can communicate with me, and then just put your first name and simply what you're inquiring about, and if you would like to set up a Zoom call, and then we'll go from there. I send you love, peace, and joy. Have a great day as well. But I